let's give it.
Doop, 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 doop. All right, there we go. We're in. Hello, everyone. Let me just see how the stream is performing. If everything looks good on this side, but I think we should be live on all three socials. Yep. Looks good.
No, great, fantastic.
All right.
Hey, everyone.
Let me just see if
Good
I
to
can
see
see
you.
the comments.
Good to be here.
So we're live both on LinkedIn, on X, and on YouTube. So whoever is watching from anywhere, good to see you. Good to have you here. We got about 40 viewers right now.
Yeah, great.
Let me just
Oh,
do a
that's
little
fantastic.
introduction. So, as many of you probably know, I'm Dennis. I'm the community specialist at Nosana. I love to host certain events that we do everywhere, whether it is workshops, community calls, or something else like this one, which is going to be a live session with our DevRel David. David, can you just do a little short introduction about you, and then we'll start off with giving you the stage and letting you perform what you do best.
Yeah, of course. Hey, hey everyone. Hi, I'm David. I do developer relations at Nosana. That means I get to give workshops, presentations. I help the business development team a little bit with onboarding clients, and I help the marketing team as well with writing technical content. And I maintain the documentation. So I get to spread the word about Nosana and tell people how great of a product it is, and what we're doing to change the space of distributed computing and providing a space, a platform for AI and machine learning projects to be able to host their AI workloads.
Awesome. Thank you, David. So, as many of you know, because you're here for that very sole reason, our Builders Challenge has been going on for almost a week now, and there's been a lot of questions. There's been a lot of concerns. There's been a lot of things you aren't sure about this challenge and how to tackle it, how to get started, how to deploy, how to make sure that everything is going according to plan. And most importantly, to you, how do you guarantee a spot, in the top 10? How do you make sure that your project is seen and you can win something in the Builders Challenge? So today, David's going to go through it all. Basically, we have a whole summary of things going on to explain what's the best way to get started with this and how to participate, submit your project, and of course, maximize your chances of winning. So any moment now, David's going to share his screen. I'm going to put it over there just so you can see it. And yeah, we'll get started with it. David, do you want to share your screen right now, or do you want to share something beforehand? Okay, I see your screen.
Yeah,
So
I'm ready to get started.
We're ready to get started. All right, we're here. I'm giving you the stage, so take it away.
Okay, so hi. Yeah. So this is a little bit of the short agenda that we'll be going through today. Um, uh, wait, that one doesn't work very well. So let me change it to here. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, today we'll be going through the Builders Challenge. So like as many of you know, like we do these bi-monthly challenges, like to get people interested in Nosana and teaching people how to actually use Nosana. And like we do that through a variety of ways of actually getting people to build a template and deploying their first LLM to Nosana. The previous one was getting people to build and deploy an agent on Nosana. And this time around, we're working on not only like the templates, the agents, but also the front end, and potentially also combining a MCP server with like this particular challenge. So just to kind of really showcase like what's possible when you're building on top of Nosana. To quickly go through this, like this is going to be the short agenda that we're going to go through today. So we're going to do some introductions, like I'll introduce Nosana. Mastra is the agent that we're using today to actually build our agent. It's a TypeScript framework that allows you to instantiate your agent connected to an LLM and all those goodies that we'll dive into a bit more like very soon. I'll continue presenting a little bit about the Builders Challenge, and afterwards we're actually going to go through then the overview of the challenge. What are the timeline? What's the prize pool? And to get you hyped a little bit about building your own agent and participating in the Builders Challenge. Then we'll actually go through a technical walkthrough of the project. So to kind of, we provide a basic template that you can use, a GitHub repo that you can fork and download that like provides you a basic skeleton that you can use to actually get up and started and actually build on top of that. Just to make it a bit more easier for you. And we'll also be specifying the requirements and what's the scope of the things that we're looking for, and what are also the technologies that you can swap out in order to like use the technologies that you're more comfortable with building, instead of being constrained to the technologies that we have decided to use for this particular repo. Afterwards, we'll go through like hopefully a little bit of a live coding session, or I've prepared a feature where we'll go through what it looks like to actually be adding features to our agent and how we can actually display it then within our front end. And we'll also be connecting our agent as an MCP server to then our cloud terminal, our Cloud Code terminal tool, which is like one of the more interesting things I think that is happening right now within the space of agents and MCP servers, as many of you know. And last but not least, we'll also go through the motions of what it means to actually deploy on Nosana. So at the end of the day, like you've created your agent, it's running on localhost, but you want to serve it to users, and you want to be able to use GPU compute to power your agent. And this is where Nosana comes in. So we're going to go through the steps necessary in order to actually get you from localhost to then a globally available instance that you can deploy to your users. Last one, we'll go through the submission checklist. And last but not least, we'll go through all of your questions that you might have for us, and just have a little bit of an office hour and talk about any questions that you might have, and like what are the things that you're struggling with, because we're here to help. And so let's get started. So like as I've already mentioned, like let's get started with Nosana. So like Nosana is this GPU marketplace for AI inferencing. What does that mean? In a sense, in a nutshell, we're a distributed cloud platform. We run on consumer devices. So if you have a gaming PC at home, for example, with a RTX 4090 in it, you can host it onto our platform, and we'll connect you with someone who wants to run some kind of AI workload. So that way, it's just, we think of it as the Airbnb of GPUs. If that's an analogy, that's a pretty popular analogy that we use that like manages to kind of convey the concept of what we're building here. So with that, we provide then different interfaces for people to be able to actually buy the compute from you, from your RTX 4090. We provide then we have a CLI tool, we have an SDK, and we have the dashboard as our dashboard as well that you can find here. So if we go here, for example, I have different ways that I can log in. As you can see, I can log. We've recently added this addition that you can log in with your Google account, or you can log in with your wallet. For this case, I'll be logging in with my wallet. Yeah, there we go. Ta-da. No, I don't have enough resources on this. So let me log in with my Google account. No, not that either. One moment. There we go. Let me log in with my wallet again. If it will work with me. Yeah. So should be able to use this one. Yeah, there we go. And select wallet, Fountain. Let me do a hard refresh. Yeah, there we go. We're logged in. So we have different templates, as you can see here. We have, you're not limited to like the templates that we have like on this website. But we have DeepSeek, we have Gemma, we have GPT OSS as examples that you can use in order to get started today. And we also have a community section. If you want to add something to our community section, please do read our documentation on how to add your own template to our community section right here, so that you can share then your template with the rest of the world. So let's say you want to deploy a simple model. Let's say you want to deploy the Gemma model. It's a pretty simple JSON file, as you can see here. All it is basically a Docker runtime, and we use then a particular Docker image, and we, in this case, Ollama, and we specify resources that we want to use in order to run this model. So let's pick a GPU that we can use to actually run this. We're going to pick a GPU with a fast download time. This one seems like a good one. It's one that's running in the United States. It has almost a gig of per second of download speed. And if we deploy it, then it should happen relatively easily. You can see when I click deploy, I need to sign the transaction in order to actually sign for the transaction and pay for it, so I can start reserving the host. And as we can see, it got picked up relatively quickly. We need to sign the transaction again in order to actually see the server logs. And as we can see that our Ollama image was downloaded immediately, and our Gemma model was also downloaded pretty quickly. So we should be able to see that our Ollama is running already. And well, this is just then like an endpoint that we can query. So if we go to the endpoint URL and we go to models, we can see, oh, look, we have Gemma running behind the scenes on this one. And I think they took out the chat interface, but yeah. So that's a brief introduction of like what Nosana is. So this is the platform that we'll be leveraging in order to actually do our agent deployment very soon. On the other hand, today, like for the agent challenge, we're using Mastra, as I mentioned. So Mastra allows you, it's just a TypeScript library, just like any other library that you would use in order to actually instantiate the agent. And it's very easy to use. Like it's quite remarkable how easy it is to actually build an agent. The first time that you think of an agent, it sounds intimidating, but at the end of the day, as you'll see in the little bits, it's quite easy to use. All you have to do is actually define your agent. You'll have to define the inputs, the outputs. You have to connect it to an LLM. You write a couple of TypeScript functions in order to actually activate tool calling, and then all of a sudden you have a fully working agent. And with all of the ins and outs that come from that. So for the Builders Challenge, as many of you know, we have about $3,000 worth in USDC that we're giving away. So as you can see, like this is kind of the distribution of the prizes. First prize is going to be $1,000 USDC, then going to $750 to the second placeholder, $450 to the third place, and $200 for the fourth place. And from 5 to 10, then it's just going to be $100. And the idea is that you'll fork your repository, you'll build then a particular feature with tool calling, and then adds that to the front end as well, and make it interactive and make it fun, and really show your creativity in what you're building, and then commit all of your code back to your fork and submit it then through the Superteam platform with a link to your submission. So the link to your submission is just your GitHub fork, your URL. You also have to add a little tweet link. It doesn't have to be a tweet. It can be something else as well. The social media network of your choice. It could be LinkedIn or Blue Sky, whatever your poison is. And of course, we want to know what your Discord handle is and what your Telegram handle is, so that we can get in touch with you and keep you up to date. And of course, like one of the many benefits is like you get paid to actually participate and learn how to build an agent, which is just everything aligns, right? So this new hype that's happening within the space, where everyone is trying to figure out like how to use these new tools, how to use all of these primitives in order to build new features and new products and services and new businesses. Like it's very exciting to be in this space right now. So one of the big questions as well that like kept coming up and that we quickly want to address is how to actually get credits. So we've defined it right here in the prerequisites. Yeah, there we go. To participate in the challenge and get Nosana credits and/or /NOS tokens, you have to register on the Superteam page. You have to register at the Luma page as well. And you have to then start these 3 repositories. We really want to get more stars for our repositories. We want to get more people's eyes on our repositories. So this particular Agents Challenge repository, the Nosana CLI repository, and last but not least, the Nosana SDK repository. And last but not least, you also have to register for our newsletter at the link provided. and we'll be broadcasting this link as well, like, and the necessary requirements for you to be able to get Nosana credits. And so we'll be doing this in batches. So if you've done this already and you haven't received your credits yet, we'll be doing this very soon. We'll be releasing a fresh batch of credits tomorrow. So and we'll announce it on our Discord as well. And so stay tuned for when you'll receive your credits, so that you can start testing your deployment on Nosana. Okay, so I think that's what are the things that might be missing in terms of the introduction.
Well, you kind of covered the whole thing. I do have a couple of questions, but I'm going to leave it for later when we get to the more technical side of things. So right now, maybe we just get started on how to, like, once you actually do all of this, the beginning, how do you get started and how do you plan out what you're trying to do? Maybe give them a little idea. But perhaps better to stick to your summary and go step by step. And then if we have any questions in the relevant area, we can always stop and have me read the question and you can answer it then. But for now, just stick to the script and I think we should be more than fine.
Okay, yeah, agreed. Indeed, so like the way you start is actually by signing into your GitHub account and then actually forking the repository to your own user account on GitHub. So when you create your fork, that's the fork that you'll have to pull down. So in this case, it'll be dj/agent challenge, and just git pull that down to your machine. As you can see, like I already have my repository downloaded here. So I can already get started right now with the challenge. So let's take a look at now that we have it pulled down, like let's quickly take a look at our package JSON. As we can see, we have a couple of scripts here for you to be able to get up and started quickly. We recommend using PNPM for this challenge. The reason for that is that we like NPM. It's fast. It's really quick compared to NPM. And also the Docker file that we've used assumes that you'll be using PNPM. So if you're going to use the skeleton that we provide, we recommend using PNPM just to avoid any kind of conflicts that you might encounter down the road. But of course, you're more than welcome to use NPM, Yarn, or Bun if you prefer those suite of tools. So of course, the first thing is when you actually pull down is to actually install your dependencies. As you can see, like I already have my dependencies installed. The next thing that we want to do is we want to start running our development servers, right? So in this case, we have two development servers that we want to start running. The first one is going to be the agent one. The agent one is going to include the NPC, the agent and the MCP. Those are going to be combined into one local host endpoint. And we run it by running pnpm run dev :agent. As you can see, it's starting the development environment. And these are one of the things that I really like about Mastra, is that it provides you a interface that you can use to actually play around with your agent. So you can actually already start talking to your agent directly just via the development server itself, instead of having to do it via your custom interface or whatever it might be. So for example, we can see our agent here. In our particular case, we have a weather agent. We have a couple of tools associated with it as well. and we have the MCP server also already running. There are other things as well that you can add on to your agent when it comes to, for example, workflows is when you configure different tools and you define then a complete workflow for how different tools should interact with each other when it comes to particular business logic or business processes, and how you branch off then like those different tools in order to do different things to come to different outcomes for different scenarios, right? The MCP server is what you would use in order to be able to connect your agent with with Cursor or Windsurf, or in our case, we'll be showing you how to connect your Cloud Code terminal with the agent that we're building today. So this allows you to actually call the tools within your agent from the chat interface that you want to talk to. And so let's go back here. And here we'll see we have already a little chat interface that we can use to actually start talking to our agent. So for this particular project, we provide you an LLM endpoint already. Like we have a Qwen 3 8 billion parameter instance running on Nosana. We finally have endless endpoints up and running as a feature on Nosana, and so it should be available to you like throughout this whole challenge. So we won't have to deal anymore with endpoints that are down anymore. But you can ask it, hi there, how are you? So just like any other LLM, you should be able to talk to it relatively easily. If it'll respond.
Yeah, well, sometimes they don't like to talk to you. Sometimes it takes a bit.
Right? Yeah.
Which one are you talking to?
A Qwen instance. So let me quickly check. Let's reset and try again. Otherwise, I'll quickly need to make sure that the instance is working.
This is good though, because people are going to be stuck on things such as this. So if we can figure out a solution, even better. There we go.
Nice.
Just restart. That's it.
Yeah.
All the trick in the book.
Yeah, maybe it was also just a little bit busy. Like other people are querying it as well. So yeah, no, great. So we're actually talking to our agent right now. So in essence, an agent is a LLM that can call tools, that can call an API, for example, and actually make a change in the world. And we'll see that very concretely in a little bit. But in this case, for example, our very simple agent is a weather agent. And so I'm going to ask, I'll ask, hey, what's the weather like in Fiji? And I can ask it this natural language question. And as we can see, it's calling the weather tool that we've defined for our agent. So the agent inherently knows the list of tools that are available to it, and it can then actually call those specific tools to query an API endpoint to get concrete data back. And so you're able to combine the best of two worlds. You're able to combine then the ability to be able to talk to your computer while having your computer be able to actually do very concrete computations and return that result back to you in natural language. So that's really a fundamental breakthrough of what's happening right now. And we foresee a very big change. So as we can see, we've actually gotten back then the result of the tool call and we can see, oh, look, the temperature right now is 21 degrees in Fiji. I wish I was in Fiji right now. But yeah, so that's the agent.
I've got a
So
I've got a master little related question for you. I would usually skip this part and let it sit till the end, but I think it's relevant. Mih Awesome, I don't know if that's correct, on YouTube is asking, let me see if I can actually highlight it. There we go. Is it absolutely necessary to use the master starter template? Can we just build a master project from scratch?
Yeah, you can use a master template from scratch as well. So indeed, Mastra provides templates as well. You can see them here, for example. So like there's like a browser agent, a deep search. There's like a bunch of there's also community templates. So you can use these ones as well, like if you would prefer to do that instead of copying the our template. But we just wanted to provide you a template to help those who aren't very familiar yet with the space on how to actually to provide them a clean and working surface that they can use to get started. So for example, there's this one as well, the crypto trading agent. And as you can see, it's pretty easy to get started with one of these templates. So they provide you a quick start thing as well that you can use. Just run npx create Mastra and provide the template URL, and you're golden and you're ready to go. So yeah, like I hope that clears it up a little bit for you as well. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's about building an interesting product, a product that you yourself would want to use, a product that is solving a real world problem, a product that you think that like is needed within the marketplace. So if you think that there's something else, another way that you can get started, if you don't need the starter template, like yes, please do go ahead and like use another one of the templates that are provided. Last but not least, so like now that we know how to actually run our development agent, let's get started with running then the UI. So in this case, we also provide a UI for you. It's a React library, or it's a React front end using Next.js. So as you can see, it's this beautiful website, basically super simple, nothing too fancy, but it provides you a chat interface as well that you can use to actually talk to your agent. So just like before, we can ask it, what tools do you have? And it'll tell you. And so, and in this case, we've actually built a nice little weather interface to be able to show you what it can do. So like, what's the weather like in El Salvador? And you know, it's much nicer. Like, and you can also ask it to change the theme. And it's like it really starts opening up interesting possibilities, right? Where you can talk to the website, and like just by talking to the website, you know, like you can start changing things around. And so like I'm really imagining that like this will be like kind of a new interface that will start popping up more and more, like where it's not only the chat interface, but by chatting to the interface, it's literally changing all of the elements as well, like within the website. So like I'm really excited to see like what this new way of interacting with computers will actually lead to. Like will it how it will change the the UI language of how we interact with our computers on a daily basis. Um, okay, so custom tool calling. So now that we have a little bit of an idea, like I think it might be wise to. So yeah, what are the kind of like the inspirations that we're looking for? Yeah, like as I mentioned, like it's something that scratches your own itch. I mean, on one hand, we are within the crypto space, so like I do understand that like for a lot of people, the appeal is that like they will build some kind of crypto trading bot, for example. That was a very popular submission in the previous challenge, but like lamentably as well, like because there were so many submissions, like in regards to crypto trading bots, that also made it like the creativity wise less appealing. So I think one of the things as well that we're looking for is uniqueness. Or if you are like building a crypto trading bot, like you really do have to go above and beyond in order to showcase that like your use case that you've developed is really so much better compared to the other participants.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree with what you're saying, especially because like I don't know if it was the most. I think it was the most submitted in the previous challenge, right, for the trading bot.
It was definitely one of them. Like I think
Yeah.
40% of the submissions were had something to do with crypto trading in
Yeah, I
one
think I
form
think
or
I think
another.
a good advice, and you just said it, is focus on being more unique, because if you're creating a trading bot, you're competing with a lot of people who are also building trading bots. So we're only gonna make one trading bot win. We're not gonna make all five or all 10 of them win. So you're competing internally with people who are doing the same product as you. So if you focus on something more unique, something that's not as popular and people are not working on it, I would say that that uniqueness will give you extra points and maybe push you in the top 10 or maybe top 5 or even closer if the product is working it and if it's doing its job. For example, I'm going to be a little bit biased as a community guy, but there's a lot of possibilities right now for example, for community engagement tools. Those who have been sticking around our Discord and watching what we've been doing, you notice that we do a lot of these community engagement things, missions, stuff like that, and a lot of potential is hidden behind these agents and MCPs, where you can have them do a lot of stuff for you and give you analytics about your Discord, or give you analytics about your viewers, or give you. There's a lot of stuff you can do with this, and this is also something that I will probably explore in my free time. Personally, I'm going to be developing something of a personal assistant for my community management stuff, which will analyze some stuff like viewers and people who leave, or people who join the server, or why people are joining, or what's the hottest topic of conversation in a certain channel. This Discord allows you a lot of this stuff to be easy to access because they have a lot of APIs, so the agents can communicate with the Discord servers and get you a lot of stuff. So there's a lot of creativity you can do. You can do something like that, but we're just warning you that like crypto bots, the trading bots, they're definitely the most popular submission, and you're just making it harder for yourself if you go down that path, because many others are also exploring it.
Yeah, exactly. But indeed, so like it can be some kind of personal assistance, like doing some kind of data analysis and presenting it. For example, you could imagine that like in this case, you are provided then this canvas. So you have the chat interface, but then like you also have this canvas that you can use in order to like um, put on graphs, bars, or charts, and maybe like like you can talk to the chart, or like um, um, one thing that like of course like we're very much interested in as well is like how people can build agents that interact with the Nosana network. So popular submissions last time were as well agents that could orchestrate and deploy on other agents on Nosana. So like a little bit of a recursive thing as well that happens. But yeah, so yeah, your creativity is a little bit the limit. So let's quickly start actually walking through the repo. So I think the first place that might be useful to actually get started with is, as we can see, there's two directories in the source directory. So one of them is then the Next.js React Copilot kit. That is also not a requirement. If you want to use another front end for your agent, you're also more than welcome to use the technology that you're more comfortable with using. We just thought that like this integration with Copilot Kit is relatively good, so like we recommend we used that. But indeed, so it's in then the Mastra directories that like we can start seeing how to actually get started. So here we can see our agents. Let me make it a bit bigger. Yeah, so of course we define our dependencies up top. We define our agent state. And here we connect then our Ollama instance. So like as we mentioned, we're just running an Ollama endpoint in the background, and Ollama is serving Qwen3 for us. So we in the environment in the env.example, we've provided it for you. So if everything works correctly, you should just be able to copy this .env file to .env and get up and running very easily. And this is actually where we instantiate our weather agent. So you have to provide it a name. You have to provide it the tools that you want it to call for you. You provided the model. The model then is then just an LLM endpoint that you want to talk to. You're also not necessarily limited to using Nosana in this case. If you want to use another LLM provider, you're more than happy to do that. You can provide your open API key, for example, but then you'll have to change this particular import. Instead of using Ollama AI provider v2, you'll have to use another plugin, and then you'll have to then pass it then back to Ollama right here. Do be wary though that like depending on how you actually deploy your agent to Nosana, you might potentially accidentally expose your API keys. So we do recommend using this, doing it this way. But if you don't mind exposing your API key a little bit, or if you know how to do confidential deployments, you can also do that instead. You can look at our documentation on how to do confidential deployments if that's a requirement for you. You can find the documentation at docs.nosana.io in the run inference. And as you can see in confidential jobs, you'll see a little tutorial on how to get started with deploying confidential jobs. Last but not least, we need to provide a instruction to our agent. So we're going to tell it what it is. Like you're going to tell your agent, hey, look, you're a helpful assistant. You have access to these tools, and then you provide it literally. You tell it what it is and what it can do. I think this is what people call prompt engineering these days, because more and more these things start popping up, right? Like where you have to be able to edit the prompt in such a way to be able to tell the LLM how to behave. And so that's why sometimes you see these prompts that become very long and very complicated. You give it a little description. In this case as well, we activate the memory for it. In this case, we're using libsql and we're doing the memory in file. So like anytime that you start up the agent or like it goes down, the memory gets destroyed. But like, of course, you can use another kind of plugin as well to be able to connect it to your own production database in order to be able to use the memory feature. So I think then the next bit right here is actually looking at the weather tool. So that's the other big part of having an agent, right? Yeah, there we go. And so when you're creating your tool for your agents, you need a couple of things. You need then the create tool function, and we also need Zod. Zod allows you to create the schema for your input objects and your output objects. And in that sense, it allows you tell the agent exactly what it is that it should be expecting, or like when it gets data from natural language, how to parse it, and then to be able to so that when you do the tool call, your TypeScript function can actually knows how to parse the incoming data, and then it works on that data, and then when it has an output, like at the end of that function, it knows what to give back then to the LLM, and the LLM knows, oh, look, I got this JSON, and it matches the schema of like what I'm expecting, and this is how then I can then represent all of that data within whatever structure it is that you want from the LLM. But in this case, we can see that we're defining a couple of interfaces when it comes to like how to actually, what we're going to get back from our API server. As we can see, it's just an interface. We don't need to actually define the schema for it. Here we do define the schema then for the weather tool. And here as well, we define how we want our AI to actually interpret the data, or like what's the data going to be that like gets handed back to it. Here we can see that we're actually creating the tool. So it's also very easily, we need to define the ID of our tool. And the ID, of course, needs to be unique. So anytime that you create a new tool, like you need to make sure that the ID of that tool is also unique. You provide a description of what that tool does. As I mentioned, you provide the input schema of what the tool is going to expect, and you need to provide then the output schema. And last but not least, we provide as well the execute property in order to run the actual TypeScript function that is going to work in the background in order to be able to get our response. So in this case, we're running get weather, and we can see it's basically an API call, and it's calling geocoding API in order to get our weather data, and it will return that back then this JSON object, or this object, when it actually manages to get back all of the data. So we've covered then the agent, We've covered then the tool calling. We've covered the LLM, and then all of this then comes together in order for you to be able to actually interact with your agent. Here at the end of the day. So the other interesting thing as well that we can do is I mentioned that the MCP server is also part of this. Yeah, it's a little bit of a, it's not really necessary, but like it is interesting, it is useful. In this case, like we have it's pretty easy to define our MCP server. So once we have our agent up and running, it's go time. So here we can see it's just as easy, or if not easier, to define our MCP server than it was to actually define the agent. So in this case, we have our MCP server, we give it a name, we give it a version, we specify the tools that are available to it, and we also specify like the agent that is available to it. So, and as we can see, in the master playground, we have two endpoints available to us. So in this case, it's running on localhost 411/API/MCP/server/SSE, or we have the HTTP one as well at a very similar endpoint. So what we can do is once we have our MCP server running, we can use Claude. So in this case, I've already added my MCP server to Claude, but we can see that it's as easy as Claude MCP add. As we can see, Claude MCP add / transport. This is where you define if you're going to use HTTP or SSE. You give it the name, and then you give it the actual address. So let's quickly copy then our server address. Let's use this one. So Claude MCP add transport SSE nos ana local, and we pass in then our API MCP server, and once we launch Claude and our terminal, we can ask it, hey, what's the weather like in Aruba? And so now from within Claude, we can see it'll actually try to call our localhost MCP server. It'll call the tool, and all we have to do is actually talk to it. So yeah, in this case, we need to give it permission, and it'll give us then back a nice little response. So you should be able to do this as well, like when you actually have Claude open. You should be able to go into settings, connectors, and add a custom connector, and you should be able to add your own custom MCP server as well when you actually deploy it. So from within Claude or ChatGPT, I think ChatGPT also supports this custom connector as well. You should be able to connect your agent so that you can talk to your agent from your chat provider of choice. Okay, so what else? Connecting front end agent functionality. So when it comes to then the actual front end, as you can see as well, it's React. It's relatively easy. To be completely honest, part of this is something like I vibe coded as well. Most of the times, I feel like when it comes to actually creating interfaces, vibe coding works relatively well, especially when it comes to vibe coding React components. And all you have to do is kind of like let it do its thing. If you have a concrete example to begin with, that also really helps, right? And you just you specify as well the way that you want your agent to react with then your front end, and let it render then parts of your front end like the way that you want it to, like by incorporating adding components or destroying components or what have you. So let's quickly get on to the part of deployment as well. I hope that like what I've been able to showcase right now, like it's pretty clear. But when it comes to then actually deploying, quickly want to get through this as well, because like this is like one of the things that like probably all of you might not be very knowledgeable with. Like, so we do provide you a Docker file that you can use that's ready to go for the specific template that we've actually provided you. So as long as you stay within the limitations and using the template that we provided you, this Docker file is usable and ready to go. But like if you use something else, like another package manager, or if you use something else such as Bun, or if you use another front end, you'll probably have to change this Docker file as well in order to be able to accommodate for your specific suite of tools that you've chosen to use. But as we can see, once you have the Docker file, we have to then just like run then these commands, right? So these are also like pretty standard when it comes to building and pushing a Docker file to Docker Hub. You build your container. Of course, you can run it locally in order to make sure that everything is running correctly. In this case, if you build the container, like it will assume that you'll be running the agent locally. So maybe testing it locally won't work properly unless you actually change then the parameters for the LLM endpoint. But like when you actually manage to log in and you push your Docker container, you can then start with the deployment. So we've also provided you with a job definition file that you can use to actually do the deployment. So as I mentioned all the way at the beginning, like doing a deployment is all it requires is a job definition file, which is a JSON file in this case. So as we can see, here in this case, we have a global property within which we define then environment variables. Next, we have this ops property, or this ops array that allows you to start defining the operations within the workload that you want to run. So the first operation that we'll be doing is actually running our Ollama instance. Sorry, like in this case, we'll actually be running then the agent that we've built. So in this case, we can see like I've deployed my image to djmbrit/agent challenge. We have the within our environment, we have then our properties defined for where it can actually talk to our LLM. And in the second ops, we can see that we have we'll actually be deploying our Ollama instance to actually serve it and pull down Quentry and serve an endpoint that our first operation can talk to. In this case, we can see that the VRAM is 24. You can change the model that you want to run. For example, you can decide to use a larger model, right? You can choose to say, for example, use 27B. But then you also have to change the required VRAM. When it comes to the required VRAM, like it has to do with like how large the LLM is that you're using, and 24 gigabytes of VRAM is more than enough to run a Quentry 8 billion parameter model. The rule of thumb is to use something that's about like twice as big as the billion parameter number, assuming that it hasn't been quantized. If it has been quantized, then it's like another value. It's smaller, but let's just assume that like it hasn't been quantized. So then it's about 2 times as big. So like in this case, we would need at least, and that's like really like scraping the surface when it comes to being able to load the model into the GPU, is 16 gigabytes of VRAM. But okay, so like when you have this, yeah, no, this is good. So I can copy this. As I mentioned, you can no. Yeah. You can go to you can go through all of the steps necessary in order to get credits via registering via Superteam, registering on the Luma page, starring the repositories, and registering for the newsletter. And we'll provide you some credits so that you can actually do the deployment. So in this case, let me quickly log out. Let me log in and use Nosana. And as we can see, like I have some credits like available on my account. You'll also have some credits available to you. And you can go to deploy model, and instead of selecting templates, expand this little bit right here, post your job definition file that we just copied. And then we can choose then the particular GPU that we want to run it on. I like going through this interface because I can choose the download speed of the GPU and just choose the fastest GPU available to me. And as we can see, there's one available in the Netherlands with 2 gigabytes of download per second. We're going to run this on the 3090. So the deployment went very quickly. You can see it's pulling down our images. Again, as we can see, we have 2 ops, one for the agent, one for the LLM. The way that we run the agent as well is that we run the front end and the agents all within one Docker container. Ideally, you would separate those 2 things, right? So there would be one extra op as well when it comes to the front end, but like for the way that we've architected for this particular use case is we've chosen to like integrate it into one container. As we can see, Ollama is being downloaded onto our host. Our agent API is already up and running. As we can see, like this particular host is in the Netherlands. So just a couple of more seconds before the LLM has completely been loaded, and then we can get started.
It's pretty good download speed though. Seems to be going pretty fast.
Yeah. I don't know, like it does seem to be hanging a bit. Something's not completely right. But as we can see, like the front end is already working. So let's quickly check if it's the LLM is if the logs are just stuck or if it's just the no. So it's definitely this isn't loading properly. Okay, let's just stop this and let's redeploy it. Let's do a 4090. Cool. Also, okay, nice. It's downloading all of our layers again. Now it's also downloading our LLM very quickly. Lovely. It's downloading the layers for our agent.
Might be also a good time to mention that, as you can see, things can sometimes go wrong. When you're deploying jobs, sometimes the host hangs, sometimes the logs don't show correctly. Some things can go wrong, and you just need to be prepared to, figure out what's wrong. And this is where we are very active on our Discord. So if you have any issues when you're deploying a job or something went wrong on the dashboard and you can't figure out what's going on, you just reach out, send a message, hey, I'm having a problem with this. And there's a good chance someone from the community is going to help you even before someone from the team reaches out, because we have a lot of experienced members in the community who have been tackling these issues for some time now, and you should never be afraid of asking, because we are always doing our best to respond as fast as we can. So when things go wrong, just ask a question, doesn't hurt, and it will probably help you in the long run. So
Yeah, indeed. We're here to help, and we have a dedicated channel within the Discord as well to help you and to get people together to work on these issues. But for example, with this issue, we can see it was just the host was hanging, and it was as easy as just deploying it on the new host. So we can see the logs for our agent. Our agent is up and running. Our Olama instance has pulled down Quen and is up and running. And here we can see the dark logs as well, that everything got pulled down successfully. So we can open our service. In this case, our service opens up then to the front end, and we can start chatting to our agent. And we should be able to go back and see the logs of what's happening behind the scenes, right? So here we can see, okay, it should be talking to our agent. The demo gods are not with us today.
I feel like things going wrong is even better than things going right, because if we can't fix it, who can? So once we find a solution to this, it might be easier for people who also find themselves in a situation such as this. If everything goes perfect, you never know what's going to happen to someone else.
Yeah.
So let's figure out what went wrong.
Yeah, good question. So for some reason, it's not talking to the LLM. So for example, in this case, we can try to see in the networking tab, for example, hey, look, all of the requests that are being made, right? In the networking tab. And we can see it's getting most of them. In the console as well, we don't really see anything in regards to errors. So maybe then probably what's happening is when we try to talk to the LLM, it does make a post request. Yeah. Okay, nice.
You fixed it.
Yeah. For some reason, wasn't able to talk to it right away. But yeah, so we can ask it again. What tools do you have? And yeah, get me the weather in Croatia. And this is then a URL that you can provide then to your users, right? The one all the way up top. So yeah, ideally when you actually so one of the requirements for the submission is actually doing a screen recording. So we would like to see you do the screen recording of your deployed agent on Nosana. So when you've managed to deploy it then to Nosana, yeah, open it up in the browser and show us what you've built. We're very excited to see what you've built. So indeed, when you do the video demo, make sure that your agent is running on Nosana. As you can see, sometimes, a it can hang a little bit. Like we're still working through these bugs and making sure that like everything works the way that we as smoothly as possible. It's one of the downsides of using other people's computers. Um, it's cheap, but it does bring some headaches with it that our engineering team is working through to be able to provide you the best experience possible for the price point that we're offering it. Yeah, and just kind of walk through then like what are the key features and functionality like that you've managed to build with your agent. The front end interface in action. So yeah, like how well does your front end actually manage to incorporate the features that like you've managed to build with your agent? Like does it change? Like how much value does it add to the agent that you've built? Some kind of real world use case. Again, I don't know, it could be education, it could be trading, you know, some maybe like some kind of like when you're a YouTube agent, for example, the sky is the limit when it comes to your creativity, like and what like how you imagine how you can incorporate these primitives into the product or service that you're building. Please update the README as well with a bit of a description of the agent that you've built. What are the tools and APIs that you're using? Potentially some setup instructions as well, like for when we try to download your repository and build it ourselves, and like while we're doing the judging, and any environment variables as well that you've used during your so that we can run it ourselves as well. But this one I know can be a bit sticky especially when it comes to secret keys or tokens. So at your own discretion. And so as we've mentioned, yeah, at the very least, you have built one new tool for your agent, but that's really scraping the barrel, using building out of the front end interface, showing that you've deployed it on Docker. The Docker container does need to be deployed on your registrar of choice, a video demo, the updated README, and a social media post as well, showcasing what you've built and just like sharing with the world as well the thing that you've built and deployed on Mosana. Here we can see the submission process as well. All of it is described here. So if there are any questions, please do reach out and let us know.
Yes, unfortunately,
yes.
I can't see the Twitter comments or X comments. I did go into them. I need to review them again in case there's some questions. But there are a couple questions on YouTube if you want to cover it now.
Yeah, absolutely. So one more thing before though is do commit your code and push it back to your repository. So we will be taking the cutoff date into mind. So anything that has been pushed to your repository after the cutoff date will not be taken into consideration. So like the last commit before the cutoff date is the snapshot that we'll be taking and judging your project on. So do remember that the last day for submission is
oh, well, which one is it? Is it not the 20 something, 22nd, 24th? I can't remember actually. Ooh.
Yeah, it's
going. Oh, no, it's somewhere here.
it is on the 24th. Yes,
it is on the 24th.
So indeed, right now you still have 8 days and 7 hours and 40 minutes remaining. So still still enough time to get on top of it.
Yep.
But yes, yeah, let's go to questions. I'm very curious to hear like what people have to ask.
So Victor has an interesting thing going on, and I think I need to tag two of his questions. So let's see if I can do both of them. Because Victor is trying to build a game with Unreal Engine, right? So I'm not sure how that can work together with this, but maybe you can cover this question. It says, can I use Unreal with pixel streaming for that? I guess this question goes back all the way to the start, and I can't remember the exact context. So if Victor is with us, you can provide us more context in case we miss. But David, do you have an idea what Victor here is talking about?
No, I don't. Unreal Engine pixel streaming. Let's quickly take a look. So run your Unreal Engine application on a server in the cloud and stream its rendered frames and audio to browsers and mobile devices over WebRTC. Okay, no, that's really cool. Wow, interesting.
Very unique.
Yeah. No, I didn't know that you could run Unreal Engine. Or like I do know like there's this very popular demo of WebAssembly that they did back in the day where you could run Doom in your browser. And I think it was like with Unreal Engine as well. But no, of course, Doom wasn't built with Unreal Engine. But no, I'm very interested to see like how far browsers have come. But yes, I don't see why not. Like I'm not really. If you can potentially, yeah, hook in pixel streaming into the LLM in some kind of way and like actually control the game like via the chat. Yeah, I don't see why not. Like, I can also totally see that where like you have the best of both worlds, right? Like you have on one hand the GPU to actually run your game, and you have the GPU as well to be able to talk to an LLM. So yeah, like I would love to see this kind of use case being used more and more, and I can also totally imagine that in the future games will incorporate LLMs more and more. So when you're talking to an NPC, you'll just be talking to an agent, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And talking to that NPC will actually have an actual impact in the world, instead of like all of that behavior being encoded into how you talk to the NPC via a programming language. You can use natural language to talk to that NPC, and like tool calls are being made in the background in order to change the state of the game or whatever it is that like the side quest is like when interacting with that particular NPC. So yes, absolutely, we would love to see you using Pixel Stream.
I actually saw a little bit ago when it was on the 11th of July. The community for one of the games I play sometimes. It's a single player game called Stalker. So what the guys did is they created AI powered NPC dialogue, basically having LLM agents in the game in an offline game. So you can actually speak in your mic, and the LLM will interpret what you're saying and give you a relevant response according to the situation in the game. So the LLM will role play, other NPCs, which is quite interesting. So I think it's definitely something that's gonna be, used more and more in the future, because it saves. Because right now, like you can do voice acting right now. They can do a lot of stuff, themselves. So this will be like a very good indie solutions for those who are on a budget, perhaps. So I can see it happening.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I totally see it happening.
Yep. Let me see one more thing. Let me see on X if we have any more questions. Because Nazia asked, can we use any open API? But this was like an hour ago, so I forgot the context for what API we were talking about.
I'm assuming she wants to ask if we can use OpenAI API. Yes, you can. Whatever it is that like makes it easier for you to be able to deploy on Osana. If you think it's easier to use OpenAI's API, yes, go ahead.
Yeah. All right. Leaving some room for questions. Let me just go back to our Twitter, see if people are asking anything. If you have some questions right now, which maybe you can't think of them right now, or you're a bit shy to ask, we're still very active in Discord, so you can always check there and let us know if there's anything you're concerned about or you need help with the Builders Challenge. But yeah, I think we covered all the questions, so I'm letting you do the ending summary of things. I guess we have almost 500 viewers, so they've been like steadily accumulating over the stream. So many people have joined the stream somewhere in the middle. Don't worry. First of all, the X recording is going to be on X, but we also have a YouTube channel where we're also live streaming at the moment. So if you prefer YouTube as a channel to review what we did during this almost hour and a half, you can do so. There will be links everywhere. So don't worry, you haven't missed anything. You can just look into it later. David, anything for the final speech?
No. Thank you everyone for like joining the call, for joining the stream. As we've mentioned in the beginning, like there's $3,000 worth of USDC up for grabs. It is one submission per participant. You can work in teams if you'd like, but then you would end up splitting the cost. Just submit it under one person's name if you really want to work in teams. And yeah, no, like thank you very much to Mastra. And thank you very much to Nosana, like for providing the tools necessary for us to be able to create these things and to be able to learn how to build and deploy agents. I'm very interested to see what all of you have to build. Like, I'm very excited for what's to come when it comes to agents. I really do think it's a fundamental shift in how we're going to interact with our computers day to day. As you can see, I still on one hand prefer very old tools, but like I'm also very excited when it comes to like computer interaction and how that's going to change for the next generation of computer users. And hopefully that might mean we might use screens a bit less, might mean we might use screens a bit more, but how all of it is going to be much more interactive compared to like what it is up until now. And yes, again, do remember to star our repositories, and remember to register and submit via the Super Team page. Remember to register on the Luma page, and register for our newsletter as well. And all of those can be found on in our GitHub README. Remember that the submission deadline is on the 24th, and we'll be announcing winners on the 31st of October. And yeah, yes, please do join our Discord if you have any questions. We're here to help and to help you build your agent.
Oh, wait, was that you or was that me?
Not sure.
I had a disconnect. It disconnected me. Okay. Could you please points or requirements? Everything is covered on our blog, so I'm gonna share you the link again, so you can review again. Like all the rules, everything you want to know is gonna be on the blog. We're covering it, so you shouldn't worry about that one. Okay. Like how does front-end weight, master framework, uniqueness? Okay, so he's asking about the judging criteria. I think that's also covered in the blog. Is it?
We have it.
There you go.
Yeah, so it's 25%
about how much each one of them weighed. But there you go. You got a 20%
yeah,
each.
like
25.
each of them is 25%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it goes back to our conversation where we talked about some stuff. For example, innovation, because a lot of people last time built trading agents, right? So this is
Yeah.
not innovative. So you don't get any points there because everyone's building it. But then we're gonna look into other things, like for example, we're gonna then look into implementation and how you integrate it with Nosana and if it has real world impact, for example. But like I said before, and David agreed with me, I think you should always try to look to create something unique, something that's not very talked about, but you consider useful. For example, if it has real world impact and it's innovative, it doesn't have to be like super high quality. As long as it, the general idea it kind of does the job and it has room for improvements, we're gonna give you, star points, even though it's not a perfect project. But if it's unique and if it's like impactful, it's gonna, give you some things. Of course, if you strike all four and you create a perfect project that's niche and that works with Nosana perfectly and has real world impact, then you're gonna be probably winning the whole thing. But like I said, there's multiple ways to approach this, and but we always suggest to strive for something unique, something that you think will help us and help you maybe in the future. So that's the idea.
Yeah, yeah, indeed. Like, so like indeed, some of these are like requirements, and the other ones are like a bit more, much more open to interpretation. But yeah, like these are like the general guidelines that like we do try to adhere to, like when it comes to judging.
Okay.
And yeah, so yeah, like if there aren't any other questions, yeah,
Right now,
thank you everyone for showing up, and thank you for watching the stream.
Mm.
Yeah, no, this was fun. No, we should do this more often, Dennis.
I think we should. I think I'm already planning something, but I can't announce it just yet. But stay tuned, guys. If you're interested in building and perhaps building AI agents with MCP might, for example, be a little bit too difficult for you, we're going to be doing something in a couple of weeks that's perhaps going to be a lot easier of a starting challenge for some of you, and I think it's going to be very engaging and it's going to be fun for everyone. So stay tuned, follow our socials, subscribe to the newsletter, and for those participating in the Builders Challenge, good luck, guys. You still have some time to build, and we can't wait to see your submissions.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, good luck, y'all. And yeah, we'll be in the Discord if you need any help.
Yep.
Just reach out, and we're here to help.
All right.
Hey, thanks for hosting, Dennis.
Of course, no problem. Thank you for leading the charge, David. I hope people have learned something new, and I'm sure people will be reviewing this video later. We got 90 minutes worth of content, but I think we covered so many topics that people are gonna be visiting this video like months from now because it's gonna be so useful. So thank you for that, and thank you everyone who watched the stream, and we'll see you sometimes down the road.
Yeah, anytime. Cool, man.
All right.
Have a good one. Bye, y'all.